Welcome to SWAYAM NPTEL course on food microbiology for safe and sustainable food systems. In this we will be studying food safety, packaging and food standards, and first we will be discussing food sanitation and safety, and we will be discussing general definitions, food safety, hygiene and sanitation practices in food operation, hygiene and sanitation before production, precautions to be taken during the production and precautions to be taken after the production. Let us define certain words which are invariably used in this. Cleanliness. Cleanliness is to purify from the visible dirt in the production area by using water, air and various chemical materials in the food processing sector. Hygiene. Hygiene is the process of cleaning an environment from all sickness factors which may cause health problem. Hygiene process involves all the precautions to be taken in order to reduce microorganisms. Sanitation. Sanitation is the creation of a clean and hygienic environment and making it sustainable. Now, hygiene and sanitation. Hygiene and sanitation process cannot be divided each other in the food processing sector. Hygiene is the purification of environment from microorganisms causing diseases. On the other hand, sanitation is the measure taken for cleaning and hygiene. Sanitation is the purification of foreign substances, microorganisms, drugs, cleaning agents and all visible sources of pollution from the production environment. The importance of hygiene and sanitation in food sector. All kinds of food must be purified from any physical pollution such as glass, metal pieces, stone, sand, etc. Chemical pollution such as liquid fuels, detergents and residual of drug, and biological pollution such as bacteria and mildew, etc. Contaminated food can cause quality problem, and on the other hand health problem can be observed. Hygiene and sanitation should be effectively applied and controlled at every step during manufacturing processes. If quality control process are not applied effectively during manufacturing, these problems which are listed below can be observed. Decreasing number of sales and consumption, exposure to legal proceedings, loss of prestige, production lag, lack of motivation in the company, food poisoning or nutritional diseases, claim for damage. Now, the food safety. Food safety is protection to consumer from risk of food poisoning. Food safety covers all methods for destroying physical, chemical and biological hazards. Food-borne disease can cause a health problem for kids, pregnant and elderly consumers. Food-borne disease may end up with death. There are three sources of contamination in food sector: physical, chemical and biological. Examples of foreign substances: stocks, garbage, plastic, dust, soil, stone and metal contained in food are examples of physical contamination in foodstuffs. Chemical agents are not naturally found in the composition of food, but can give examples such as substances like detergents, contaminants, disinfectants which are added during manufacturing. Biological pollution sources are bacteria, fungi, viruses, mildew, mice and insects. Now, contamination. Food contamination refers to the presence in food of harmful chemicals and microorganisms which can cause consumer illness. Contamination can occur directly with chemical, physical and biological agents or indirectly through cross contamination. Cross contamination is the indirect transmission of harmful agents to foods. For example, if you use the same knife for cutting a bread and a watermelon, this situation can lead to cross contamination. Now, sterilization. Sterilization refers to any process that eliminates, removes, kills or deactivates all forms of life and other biological agents present in a specified region such as a surface, a volume of fluid, medication or in a compound such as biological culture media. The purpose of sterilization is effacing all microorganisms. Disinfection. Disinfection is the process of purifying foodstuffs and surfaces that are contacted with foodstuffs from microorganisms except spores that can cause disease by various methods. It is made by chemical substances or heat. The chemicals used for disinfection are called disinfectants. Foodborne diseases. The accumulation of chemical substances, toxins, metals, agricultural and detergent residues in the body, parasites and harmful microorganisms cause food poisoning and foodborne diseases. Microorganisms which are transmitted to foodstuffs from various sources multiply rapidly under appropriate conditions. Microorganisms cause lacking qualities of foods and lead to foodborne diseases or poisoning. Agricultural medicines can also contaminate food because of unconscious and faulty applications. Medicines, insecticides and rat poisons used against agricultural harms are generally known as pesticides. The regions of drug poisoning are listed below. Applying a pesticide without any protection method. Leaving pesticide where people contact by accident, especially kids, and also if pesticide mix with water or food, this situation may causes drug poisoning. Some food contain natural elements or compounds which are called toxins. aflatoxin on the dried fruits, some types of poisonous mushrooms, and sprouted potatoes can lead to food poisoning and other diseases because they contain natural toxic substances. Bacteria, viruses, and mildew are the main cause of many foodborne diseases. Inappropriate hygienic condition during manufacturing cause bacterial growth. Therefore, food poisoning can be observed. Such microorganisms may be originated from raw material, water, personnel, and ventilation system. Also, they can be transmitted from the conditions after the food is produced. These microorganisms can cause epidemics such as hepatitis A and typhoid. In addition, bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, Listeria, Salmonella, and Shigella can cause food poisoning. Rope disease. Rope is a bread disease caused by bacteria called Bacillus mesentericus and Bacillus subtilis. This bacterium makes resistant spores to high temperatures. The bacterial spores, which are activated after the dough has been made, remain intact when the temperature of the bread is not 100 degrees Celsius. Remain intact when the temperature of the bread is not 100 degrees Celsius. These live spores multiply rapidly in the bread and begin to show bacterial effects. The enzymes that secreted by the bacteria decompose parts of the starch and protein in the bread. People smell musty from the inside of the bread on the first day. As the infection progresses, stickiness and odor increases in the bread. The starch becomes liquid and forms long strands when the bread is stretched. Depending on the severity of the infection, symptoms occur within 1 to 3 days. In case of consumption of infected products, it can also cause food poisoning. It can also cause food poisoning cases such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and headache. The infection usually seen in spring and summer months when the temperature and moisture increase due to slow cooling of cooked bread or crating without cooling. The pH value of the dough is at a suitable value, that is over 5, for the growth of the bacterium. If precautions are not taken after the emergence of the infection, it causes the problem to grow. The operations that need to be done are: all fields where the dough is found in the production area which is infected are cleared with vinegar, alcohol, or a suitable disinfectant. Reduction of the pH value of the flour by vinegar. Good cooking and quick chilling of the manufactured product. The use of preservatives to prevent bacterial growth. Making attention to the storage conditions of plant in hot weather, and it should not be stored in a bag in hot and humid environment. Food poisoning symptoms. Inappropriate manufacture and storage condition can cause food poisoning. In some cases of food poisoning, symptoms occur within 1 hour, whereas most symptoms of food poisoning occur within 12 to 48 hours, and sometimes the period of time is 1 week. Poisoning usually takes 1 to 3 days, but in some cases it can last up to 1 week. Many people recover completely within a week. The most common symptoms are vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. The appearance of a few of the following symptoms suggests the suspicion of food poisoning: nausea and vomiting and abdominal pain, headache. Diarrhea can be bloody from time to time, chills and fever, pain and fatigue. Now, hygiene and sanitation practices in food operation. There are a number of precautions to destroy physical, chemical and biological damages in foodstuffs, which must be taken before production, during production, and at the end of production. These precautions must be carried out during manufacturing, otherwise hygienic product cannot be achieved. Hygiene and sanitation before production. There is a need for a structure which is free from physical, chemical and biological pollution sources, provided with hygienic production conditions, and has a suitable technological infrastructure in order to produce reliable and quality food. Before the manufacturing process gets started, all stuff which are used for manufacturing process and manufacturing yard must be cleaned periodically. For this purpose, the checklist, which is about what the staff has to do before manufacture process starts, has to be prepared. The checklist must be announced and posted with staff. These forms must be filled by the person concerned and checked by senior supervisors. All food contact surface areas, including the floor in the environment where foodstuffs are processed, the processing channels, the walls, all kinds of tools, machinery and equipment that come into contact with foodstuffs must be thoroughly cleaned regularly before starting daily work to protect food from contamination. The cleanliness of the ambient air should also be controlled in the workplace where microbiological contamination is important. The surfaces used for the production and storage of foods with low moisture content should always be dry and hygienic during use. When wet cleaning is required, these surfaces must be sanitized and must be thoroughly dried to use. The entire food contact surface in wet applications must be cleaned and sanitized absolutely before use are at the risk of any contamination. Those with portable properties should be stored in places where they will not cause any contamination risk to the food when not in use. Equipment that does not have a contact surface with food should also be cleaned periodically. The staff should be provided with a hygienic environment in all production areas. Potentially hazardous foods should be processed shortly. Disposable gloves should be preferred when working with these foods, after which they should not be touched before the hands are thoroughly washed. The person working in the food processing area must take care of personal hygiene while in working. The nails should be cut short. The handler should be kept clean and should not have open wound. Appropriate protective clothes including headgear, gloves and footwear should be worn during work. These garments should be easy to clean and kept clean. Pre-treatments should be done to prevent contamination like washing, sorting, stocking and cutting, peeling, shaping, etc., and should be protected from any physical pollutions from outside, from example glass breakage, dropping of ceiling plaster, dripping from pipes, etc. If boiling is necessary, it should be at optimum temperature and time and chilled quickly. The cell loses selective permeability during boiling and becomes unprotected against microorganisms. Water must be safe and hygienic for washing boiled products. Dough, sauce, coating products should be protected specifically against the risk of transmission. Therefore, uncontaminated inputs and additives should be used. Required heat treatments must be applied correctly. For this purpose, temperature and time controls should be done frequently. Precautions to be taken during the production. If foodstuffs are not processed in the appropriate methods and techniques, the following situations may arise: taste, color, consistency and appearance cause unwanted properties. The nutritional value losses, the hygiene quality is lost. It is a condition that can cause health problems and food poisoning. It causes the producer to lose market and reputation. For these reasons, in particular, there are rules that must be applied during processing to ensure food hygiene. These rules can generally be summarized as follows: do not anything like tobacco, chew gum, spit and sneeze towards food, nor cough during production. Personal items and clothing should not be kept in the area where foodstuffs are processed, and no jewelry should be worn during production. The staff working in the processing of the food should change all protective clothing, wash their hands, and if necessary disinfect them in the risk of infecting the end product. Preventive actions should be identified for critical production steps that will not cause any contamination in the final product. Where there is a risk of contamination, the presence or level of contamination with appropriate chemical, microbial, physical analysis should be measured by the responsible person and should be applied. A documentation system should be established for all these steps, including records and applied transactions. All food production processes must be carried out under conditions and under the necessary controls to reduce the risk of microorganism contamination and development. For this, temperature, time, humidity, water activity, pH, physical parameters and freezing, drying, heat treatment, acidification and cooling should be monitored continuously. Raw materials, additives and rejected materials should not be stored in the loading and transport areas of the final product in order to prevent recontamination of the finished products by contact with raw materials and additives. Contaminated product, raw material and other additives should be destroyed immediately for the safety of other products. However, if the contaminant is suitable for reprocessing, it must be processed with an effective method and the condition must be reanalyzed to determine that contamination has been eliminated without interfering with other products. Processes such as filling, packing and collecting should be done in a way to protect the products against contamination. All food contact surfaces and containers should be thoroughly cleaned and sanitized. Preventive measures should be taken to prevent contamination of foodstuffs in the food processing area. For this purpose, protective clothing should be provided and kept for the visitors to obey all rules stated for the employees. Now, precautions to be taken after the production. The environment and employees must be clean and healthy for quality and healthy production, as well as effective and periodic cleaning and disinfection to be carried out in the operation. The role of cleaning and disinfection is great in preventing contamination or spreading of microorganisms and preventing their negative effects. Cleaning is the prevention of tools, equipment and various surface dirts and food debris that come into contact with food and turn them into growth area for microorganisms. Cleaning is the reduction of visible dirt and debris as well as all the invisible microorganisms to the point where they are not killed or harmful. All materials which had been used during manufacturing process must be cleaned and disinfected periodically to make sure there is no any particular nor microorganism from the last process for purifying new product from the source of dirtiness. For this purpose, a control chart should be prepared at the end of the work in the field of production. These prepared schedules and forms should be filled in by the relevant persons and checked by top supervisors. In cleaning and disinfection of surfaces and equipment in contact with food, detachable parts are removed, cleaned, rinsed and disinfected and allowed to dry. Residues and coarse dirts are removed. A suitable and effective detergent solution is prepared. The surface and equipment are cleaned and rinsed with the prepared detergent solution. All surfaces and equipment are wiped with prepared disinfect solution and it is held for 5 minutes, rinsed and dried. Heavy oil and dirt cleaning. General cleaning products and processes require cleaning products that cannot be cleaned, that are sticky, burned, gelled or stronger when cleaning dirt. Oven, stove, grill, fryer, hood, filter, heavy soiled surface and soils are included in this group. For such dirt on detachable parts, pressing can also be done if necessary. The products used to clean heavy dirt and oils are highly alkaline products. During the application of these products should not touch the skin. Gloves, glasses, masks, bones, etc. protective material must be used. Products should not be sprayed on very hot surfaces to avoid exposure to alkaline vapors.